Alright, we're going to use the same trick that we saw in the last video to clear out decimals this time. I think it's a little strange. The last video, the book has a ton of them with the fractions, but not as many with the decimals. But the trick is exactly the same. So let's get started. So like we saw in the last video, we have a lot of decimals, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. Now here's the trick. What we're going to do is this time we're going to look to the farthest decimal place throughout any of the problem. And if you see, the farthest we ever get is we get to, so remember, it's the tenths, the hundredth place is the second one. So that is the farthest place. So I'm going to multiply every one of these groups by 100. So just like we cleared out fractions, we're going to do the same with decimals. Now they're doing the same thing. It looks a little different, so I'm going to go ahead and show us. If we multiply through here, we'd get 6x plus 2 equals 25x minus 150. So I'm moving every decimal place over 2 spots because I'm multiplying by 100. Now here's the beauty of this. Once we get this far, we've got all the decimals cleared, and we can start solving. I'm sure I mentioned this in the last video, but I often find students don't use the trick here and try to just do it with the decimals. And you'll get there, but this is so much easier. So now we've got the rooms clean. I'm going to get the x's back together. That's a 2. So okay. Now I've got the x's back together. Let's get them alone. Okay, remember we want the fraction, or the factor puzzle, to be last, so we're getting rid of this. Okay, now 19 times something equals 152. Well, you might be smarter than I if you know that off the top of your head. I have no clue, so let's divide it. Okay, so x it does turn out to be a whole number. It turns out to be 8. Now I reversed this. It was really an 8 over there, but it doesn't make any difference. We've got 8 equals x, or x equals 8. Okay, so I'm going to start working it. You can pause it if you want. I'm going to mark all of my groups. Now the farthest decimal place in any group is still the tenths, the hundredths. So I'm going to multiply each of these by 100. That means I'm just going to move it 2 decimal places for the 2 zeros. So 1, 2. Okay, so now I've cleared the fractions, cleared the decimals, and I now have clean rooms on both sides. But we have idle nodes in both rooms, so let's get them back together. Okay, these back together. Now let's get them alone. I want the factor puzzle last, so I'm going to add 240 to both sides. Okay, now just divide both sides by 21 and we've got it. And I'm using my calculator. Turns out h equals 12. So I don't like to see it that way, so I usually go left to right, and we've got h is 12. Okay, same game. Recommend you pause it. Try it yourself. I'm marking all my groups. Now the farthest decimal place is once again to the hundredth place. So I'm multiplying every one of those groups by 100. I get 65k minus 10 equals 40k minus 35. So multiplying by 100 moves the decimal place 2 spots. Okay, the rooms are clean. Let's get the k's together. So I'm going to subtract 40 away. I'm going to take those away, but I got to take it away from the other side. Okay, I've got them together. Let's get them alone. I want that factor puzzle, so I'm going to add 10 to both sides. Okay, now you already, 25 times something is negative 25. Well, that's easy, but we'll just divide it anyway. And you'll get k is negative 1. All right, same idea. We've got some cleaning up to do. You can do this a couple ways, but here's what I think is the best. We're going to mark the groups. Now, what's important about this is that you see this is all a giant group. I know it's got an addition in there, but it's buried inside of multiplication. So all of this is just one group. And if it's all one group, we're only going to have to multiply what's in the front here. Let me show you. So we're going to do our farthest decimal place. It's still 100. Now again, because this is all one group, this is really multiplication. This plus in here is not creating two different groups. So I'm going to multiply every group by 100. Now I only have to do it, since it's multiplication, I only have to do it by the front here. So I'm going to move just the 0.05 two places and make a 5. And this last one will be 285. So again, I've got three groups, but this is all a group because it's really all multiplication. That plus in there does not create a separate group because it's in the parentheses. Then when I multiply through with the 100, it keeps being 100, but that's just a coincidence. It doesn't have to be. Keep multiplying by 100. I only have to do it by that to the 0.05 in the front because he will then be multiplied through to everyone else. So if I do it to the 0.05, it's doing it to the whole group. Okay, now I've cleared my fractions. Let's distribute. Okay, now we're still not clean in this room on the left, so I'm going to clean it up. Okay, I've got 30x. So remember, I want the factor puzzle, so I'm getting rid of the 15. Okay, now I'm going to divide both sides by 30 to get the x alone. No, I think that would just be 9, wouldn't it? Yeah, sorry about that. So x is 9. Okay, what I don't like about these examples is they keep using 100 as the number every single time. It doesn't have to be 100. If the farthest decimal was the 10th place, we'd be multiplying by 10. But we keep just having it. So if you're working this one, this is all a group. The plus in there is all buried inside of there. So this is all one group because of the parentheses. So once again, my farthest decimal place is 100. I'm going to multiply, I get 25n plus 5 times n plus 5 equals 295. Moving every decimal place 2 spots. Okay, I've got some cleaning up to do. Okay, combining like terms, I get 30n plus 25 equals 295. Just cleaning that room. Okay, it's clean now. So I want the factor puzzle 30 times n, so I'm going to get rid of the 25 to make that happen. Okay, same thing we just had, and it's going to be 9. Sorry, checking to see what's left. Okay, once again, it's always exactly the same. It doesn't have to be 100 to clear it out. But here's my groups. So I get 10d. Just the 100 is just by the 5. I don't have to do it to everything because this is all one group. Okay. Now let's clean up. Got to distribute through there. The room is still not clean. Got 15d minus 25 is 215. I want the factor puzzle, so I'm getting rid of the 25. 15d equals 240. Okay, divide both of those by 15 to get it alone, and I get d is 16. Okay, so it's a very similar trick to what we saw before. Again, I know I keep saying the same thing over and over. Mark your groups. You find the farthest decimal place this time. It doesn't have to be 100. That is a coincidence. Otherwise, the trick works the same.